John, big question of whether or not Xi Jinping will make an address.
We do expect President Xi Jinping to speak at the event that you're watching right now. We expect the comments to look back on the legacy that Jiang Zemin has left during his more than a decade in power, overseeing really a tremendous change. You know, he took over right after the Tiananmen Square crackdown when China was in many ways a pariah state, sanctioned by the U.S., by Europe, and then taking China from there to extension into the WTO, into rapid, robust economic growth, really helping make the country what it is today, which is a superpower, the world's second biggest economy, the biggest player other than the United States on the global stage.
Tell me also, John, I mean, what's his legacy? He was seen as quite a divisive figure within the Chinese Communist Party. And there's a lot been made of that, I suppose, but ultimately it's his economic legacy which perhaps people will focus upon.
Obviously, when Jiang was in power, there were many things that happened that left people that were controversial, at the very least. Example number one will be the crackdown on the Falun Gong religious group. Thousands were taken into detention. The group was outlawed. It still exists in the U.S. and in the West. Other than that, you know, even while there was great economic growth during the period when Jiang was in power, it also saw the wealth divide in China expand dramatically. The growth, the wealth accumulated in the cities, while in the countryside, in the hinterland, things did not progress. The poor found it harder to get by. And we saw millions of people migrate from the countryside into the city looking for greater opportunity.
John, some say that Jiang Zemin couldn't be more different from Xi Jinping, who's seen more like an emperor. He was more like an everyday man. And at times he chose to deliver his speech in English.
I think they definitely had a very different style, Xi and Jiang Zemin. Jiang Zemin was a fan of Americana, as it were, a musician. He wrote songs. He famously, I think, which is a clip that's become very popular since his passing, was him orchestrating the PLA band during an event in the early 2000s and leading other senior leaders in singing as they commemorated an event there. Xi Jinping has been very different. He has not been singing, dancing, or singing in public. He's taken a more, conservative approach to things, trying to project preeminence and power on the global stage as a symbol of China.